Oops. Hello. Welcome back to episode 15 of My Wife's Unavailable. I'm your host and life coach, Chelsea B. And filling in for my wife today, my lovely, beautiful, amazing wife, is my longtime friend of the family and new roommate, Sudha. Sudha Chris. Sudha.
Hi, everyone. Yes, we just did say bye to Emma. She flew out the door.
Yeah. She flew out the door. She has prior commitments.
Well, you were trying to catch her for something.
Yeah. But you know what? We respect everything she's got going on in her life. Mm-hmm. We support it. And look at us.
Yeah, she's actually doing a great thing. I don't know. Has she talked about her volunteering and stuff yet?
You know what? No, not really. I mean, briefly, but not really. We haven't really discussed it. So yeah, she's involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters. Mm-hmm. She's got a little sister. She's
Malaysia, which is so ironic.
Yeah, I know, right? She's been hanging out with her for, I want to say it started in January.
Wow.
So I think. Yeah. And I think we have briefly discussed it, but I don't know if she's really talked about the program much, and also she's still kind of learning about it too.
Yeah. I think that's something that I personally have even started thinking a little bit more recently, because it's just, cool having a little and doing fun stuff. And I don't know how they end up in the program, if they're in the foster system or... Yeah,
I don't know either. I don't know how they get, but I know, I know they have to be, not apply, but they have to be contacting the program, in order to, or reach out.
Yeah, and I have a Arizona fingerprint clearance card, so hey, not a convicted felon.
Hey, nice.
Hey.
Glad I found that out after I said you could live with me.
Oh yeah, you should have. Yeah, but but you're finding out a lot more about me recently. Has it made you think, oh shit, Sudha is just out of control? Okay, no. Good.
It's honestly made me love you more, because it's just I've always liked you and always thought you were fun, and you always cracked me up in certain ways, and now I get context behind
the backstory. Yeah. But, I think it was kind of surface level, not from you guys, because you guys have pretty much aired your family, and I've been there for everything.
Yeah.
But, you guys have never come with me to Singapore, or I don't think I've ever had a convo with my family while you guys are in the background.
Not really.
And then my sister was actually friends with Devin on Facebook, and then my sister and I got into a fight, and then she defriended Devin.
Oh, bummer.
TMI, but yes, that did happen. So, where were we getting with this?
I don't know. But just getting to know you more.
Yeah. Ever since I've moved in for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So it's only been 2 weeks, but I'm having a good time so far. Good. And I feel like it's just... I feel like it's working out well, and I think it's going to continue to work out well.
Yeah. How do you think the sound is coming along?
I think the sound's coming along good. I think I'm coming in a little stronger, but I tend to do that.
Because this is your show, so yes.
I think I'm just kind of a loud person.
Yeah. Did it even take you time to get comfortable with running
Actually,
a podcast?
No. Good.
You just kind of...
Yeah. If you listen to the pilot episode, we literally, and I think I even talked about this. I don't know if it was on my episode, or my podcast, or if it was on Lady Amanda's podcast. G'day from the USA.
Lady Amanda.
Yeah.
Hey, is this Lady Amanda? Oh, no, we'll ask about her later.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, when we sat down, we were just we had just recorded an episode for her podcast, and I was telling her my idea for mine, and I was but you know what, really not really ready right now for it. And she was like, well, all the equipment's here. Why don't we just sit down and record something and you don't have to use it? And I was like, okay. And then I started asking her more questions about podcasting, and I went, actually, let's record. because I'm going to ask you these things. And this is like how we're going to get that conversation. And it literally, I mean, she definitely had to coach me through like the intro and like just, you know, when you're in the host chair, you are the one that facilitates the conversation and comes up with the questions. So she definitely coached me on that part.
Yeah.
But it came so naturally. And afterwards, I was like high off of that
The experience.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I was like, this is happening. Like, this is happening.
So that's good that she like, you know, I think we all need a little something or someone to kind of
Give you a little push.
Yeah. So that was Lady Amanda for you.
Yeah, so she was the push.
Hey, Lady Amanda.
Yeah, thanks, Lady Amanda.
Lady Amanda in Alabama. No,
Yeah,
that doesn't quite rhyme. Okay.
But anyway, let's get back to you real
what's
quick.
the top? Do you have like a agenda today?
Well, no, just before we get into just chatting, I want to make sure that we learn a little bit about you.
Oh,
it doesn't have to go as in depth as we've been going here.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
Okay.
usually I say like, tell us who you are, where you're from, what you've been up to.
Yeah. So you know, like we mentioned, my name is Sudha Rai.
Well, we didn't mention your last name.
Yeah, we
until
didn't.
just
So now it's like really official. And a little bit about me. Okay, so I was born and raised in Singapore. My dad was actually born and raised there. And then my mom actually moved there when they got married. So, you know, I've been sharing with Chelsea that it was an arranged marriage, which is pretty common in the Indian culture and some other cultures, even up to this day. And so me, my sister, and my brother, so there's three of us. And my sister and I are really close in age, like we're 2 years apart. And then my brother came like 10 years later. So, oh yeah, that's another thing about the Indian culture. They really wanted a boy. So thank God third time was a charm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cultures too, though.
They
Yeah.
Interesting. So that happened. And then, yeah, I was, you know, I grew up there. I went to school there. I really liked growing up there. You know, it's a city, state, and you can pretty much explore Singapore in like a day and a half. And it's melting pot because, you know, I grew up with a Chinese neighbor, and then I, you know, had to study English, like that's our first language, and then also take like mother tongue in school. So long story short, I moved to the States at 23, and I lived in Washington State.
Yeah, you did.
And that's how I got to know Chelsea, you know.
The whole fam.
The whole fam. And yeah, you know, I've been in the States for about 20 years now. I have lived in Washington State, New Jersey, Florida, Georgia, and then Arizona. And then in between, I've been like lucky because when I worked with like my former company of 9 years, they actually let me have stints in Colorado, New Mexico, and then just a lot of travel. Yeah.
You got to see a lot of the states.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a lot of moving around and kind of really loving exploring new states, making new friends. But now I've been in Arizona for almost 10 years now. So,
Dang.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
it's been a while.
Yeah. That
And
makes sense, though, because I know when y'all moved here.
yeah, it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, I do HR for a living. And, you know, I've always, I guess, remained in HR, you know, had smooth job transitions. So a lot of like my time is invested in working. So yeah, that's what I do. And that's a little bit about me. I have 4 nieces. So that's what we talked about yesterday. And then 2 of them live in Melbourne, Australia. And then 2 of them live in Singapore. So that's a little about me. Or a lot about me.
No, that's awesome. So do you enjoy working in HR?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, it's challenging sometimes because, you know, it's like a lot of companies are interested in the bottom line. And sometimes when they just need to make a decision and they need to make a decision fast, like, okay, we need to hire this person and we don't really care that they're asking for way more vacation than what we offer to our current employees, or, you know, like maybe if it's a top salesperson and they're not that nice to their coworkers, but because they're bringing in a lot of money, you know, it can be a push and pull. Yeah, that happens. And then let's see what else. You know, I think it's fast moving. It's really not a job where you have a checklist and you just kind of focus on marking things off a checklist. Because anything could happen in a day. You could have an injury. You could have someone walking off the job. You could have someone, you know, getting to a major disagreement with a coworker, or that's what I see happening. So there's good things like, you know, thinking about policies and what's going to work for employees and going to make their work life easier and better, and advocating for them. And then also explaining to, you know, the ownership and whatnot, like how is it going to result in, like, what is their ROI, return on interest? Like, what is doing this going to amount to in terms of dollar signs? Yeah. So I like it.
That's pretty interesting.
When I first started out, it was just like very administrative. Like, you know, you might know this. Doing new hire paperwork, putting someone in the HR system for payroll, processing payroll.
Leave.
Yeah, if someone's injured, just submitting a form saying this is what happened. So it was like very 9 to 5, you know, you just have a checklist and you know what you need to do. And then as I evolved, it's more strategic. Like, here's why we should give more vacation time, or here's why we should have a family paid leave, or here's why we should contribute this much to like benefits, and here's why we shouldn't change carriers, although they're going to say it's going to be this much cheaper, or here's why firing this person is not a good idea. So, you know, there's a lot that goes into it. It's very strategic. I love it.
That's like a side of it that I didn't realize. That's pretty intriguing.
There's a lot of good HR podcasts out there too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's something I would not have thought.
Oh, no, that is,
Okay. So you get some of your like info on it?
More so now than before.
Okay.
Because at my last 2 jobs, I've been an HR of 1.
Oh.
So it's just me. There's really no one that's working with me. There's really no one that's, I guess, someone to report to, or not even like report, but say, here's like what we should do and here's why. And then that person's actually putting in their HR.
Collaborate
spin,
with. Yeah, or bounce ideas off.
Yeah, and, you know, HR rules change and legislations change. So
True.
It's okay for a HR person to say, well, I need to double check on that, or that's something that, you know, attorney really needs to make the final decision on. And that's another thing that companies may not like. They may not like having to pay $500 an hour. And so like, okay, you know, we don't really need to call over.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
And you're doing like some kind of program right now, right?
It's called a PHR.
Okay. What's that?
So, I believe in the States, or maybe like 2 of the most common like HR credentials is SHRM, which is Society of Human Resources Professional.
Oh.
And then you have the PHR, which is, I think it's just, oh no, it's through HRCI. So HRCI stands for Human Resources. I know what the CI stands for, but their program is a PHR, while a SHRM certification is a SHRM, SCP, or a CP. So basically, it depends on, okay, what do you do from an HR standpoint? Are you just doing like tasks and not doing any strategic stuff? Then you should do this certification. Or if you're doing more high-level stuff, then you should do the senior level certification. So that's a program that I've been kind of stuck on because it takes a lot of studying. It's not an easy certification. A lot of people, I think, take it once and then they realize, ooh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And they miss it by a certain amount of points. And then they take it again and they pass. And some people don't even study for it and then they succeed. So my experience and my learning and everything has come from practical, doing it, situational, being in the moment. And now as I'm studying on this certification, it's kind of explaining like the backstory of how labor, like how we've gone from industrial to post-industrial, the theories. This is what this theory means, like, global HR. So it's more like deep stuff, which uncovers certain things. So it's good. I think everyone should have it. But, I've kind of like been, as you know, I work really long hours. So sometimes it's like if you're really...
You're a workhorse.
Yeah. And I haven't been able, like it really hasn't caused me not to have opportunities. Like I've been able to, like, become like at a director level.
Yeah.
So, but anywho, I am working on that right now. It's been a goal. It's going to boost up anyone's professional resume. So yeah, that's something that I've kind of been focused on these days.
It's awesome. So it doesn't sound like it's very time bound. It's just like when you're ready to take it, you take it.
Yeah. So you sign up for it and then you have 6 months to actually knock out the exam.
Okay. That makes sense.
That's for PHR.
Yeah.
And then if it's SHRM, there's a winter testing window and then there's a spring testing window.
So do you know when you're testing?
I actually did the PHR I think I signed up for it like a month ago.
Okay. So you have to at least in 5 months take it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The sooner the better, because like it would just be, I'm on a, well, like, it's always good to look out for options and like jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that's like kind of long overdue.
Yeah. In all honesty and like full like reflection in your experience and your knowledge, how confident are you if you took the test tomorrow? How confident are you that you would pass?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've done like practice quizzes before and practice exams, and I was doing it on SHRM because I was going to actually go for my SHRM certification. And so, I think some questions, they kick my ass, especially like, what is the definition of this principle or this theory? Or, I think there's certain things that's situational and they want you to answer it not the way that you would do it in your workplace, as they want you to answer it how, like, they feel like a HR professional should do it.
Based on their program or whatever. Yeah.
So I think there'll be sections of it. Like I am really confident in my, like what is the E-Verify program? Like what is FMLA, which is the Family Medical Leave Act, which is the ADA? Like what is Arizona's paid site? No, I don't think they'll ask like state specific. But there are going to be sections where I definitely feel more confident versus other sections. And that's the purpose of taking the practice exam, because it gives you a star on your areas.
Yeah.
And then you kind of know, okay, maybe I need to focus on this more.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty confident, but it's been a very long time since I have studied.
Yeah, girl, I feel that.
And when I first started studying, my brain really hurt.
Oh.
Like, I mean this, like, I finally understood the definition of like mental exhaustion.
Getting mental breaks, yeah.
Yeah, it was intense. And so I was like, wow. And that's why they tell you, because I did pay for certain, like, there are coaches that
Oh, yeah.
are really great at breaking it down, and they charge like $40 to listen to their, like, sign up for their classes online.
Yeah.
And so they said you have to build your mental stamina and your physical stamina, because the quiz is about 3 to 4 hours, I think.
Dang. Yeah, that's not a quick in getting it out.
No. And you do get to take a break.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like a bathroom break and stuff. And then
Yeah.
when you come back, you have to start the next section.
Yeah.
You cannot go back to what you have submitted, which makes sense.
Yeah. It's similar to the path I'm on to getting my credential, but I think it's probably about half the, I don't know, I guess requirements, half the time, effort that I'm going to have to put in. But yeah, you have to get certain things and you have to apply for it. And they have to even, like, I don't know the word right now, but you have to apply for taking the assessment. So it's not even guaranteed, like, you can't just take the assessment.
Oh, they have to like approve you to take it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you have to pass it.
Yeah, and some people are really, really good at their jobs. Like, I've had HR friends that haven't succeeded after 2 times, and they've just said, no way, no how. But for me, I think it's a lot of like overanalyzing what other people have done and who's failed and what the score is. Like, a lot of people have given me the right advice, which is just do it.
Yeah.
Like, the worst thing that could happen is you may not pass it on your first attempt, but at least you kind of did it and you know what you need to work on. And
you can retake it.
Yeah, but I think for me, I just have like a really weird relationship with exams and scores, and if it's not gonna be me acing it perfectly, then like I'm not ready. So it's like the tiger mom Asian mentality too that's still like grows with you.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie Red Panda? Or not Red Panda.
Oh, wait, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Hey, you call it Red Panda.
It's actually very
what's it called?
It's very relevant.
Now I have to look it up.
Yeah, I liked that movie.
Turning
I watched
Red. Is that what it's called?
I watched it with them, but I don't know what it's called. But there was a red panda, so maybe we should just call it that.
It's called Turning Red. They call it Red Panda. But that was very much the vibe in that movie, was meeting the expectations of her mother, and that's what I thought of when you were just saying that.
No, that's why a lot of Asians will laugh when they'll ask like, oh, like, will you ever share this with your parents? And they'll be like, that's not gonna happen.
Because it has to be like you are a top citizen, you're top of your class, like you're doing all the things, you're learning an instrument in another language and getting A's. And
yes, it's in Singapore, it's even like a running joke. It's called the never lose concept, or like never you'll always have to be the fear of losing, or making sure it's kind of wild.
Yeah. So it's like that's your mentality with test taking. You're like, I gotta win, or I'm not ready.
Yeah, but I really do think I'm ready.
Yeah.
Like
that's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah, because when I reflect back to college, I did do well in the topics that I was very interested in.
Yeah.
So like sales and marketing, tourism, literature, English, history. But I did not like statistics, accounting.
Yeah.
the very dry stuff.
Yeah.
So, but I do think lifelong learning is very important. And that's coming back to, I guess, maybe one of your questions is that's when I started being more active on LinkedIn. And I started seeing what this HR people were talking about. And they were really being transparent and it's so relatable.
Yeah.
And then I started doing LinkedIn learning. And then when I started studying for this certification, I realized, wow, this is good information. And this could be a good debating tool when trying to make like executives or bosses, CEOs understand why. So lifelong learning is very, very important.
Yeah, heck yeah.
And another thing in HR that we see is that some employees that fail to upskill themselves, they just kind of like do themselves no favors. It's so sad.
Yeah.
And I think companies are getting more cutthroat these days and that's why I think it's adding to the stress. But we also have a weird thing going on with Gen X where they're like, we're not hustle culture ever.
Yes.
F this.
It's a real problem, actually.
Don't call me on my vacation ever. So, So to answer your question, HR is never a dull moment. I love it. I do want to grow with it. And
I mean, it seems like you already are from just how long I've known you and the different like positions I've seen you in.
I kind of fell into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it worked out.
I think so for now, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, how's my...
Yeah, you could be a little closer, but don't strain your neck, you know?
Oh.
You can laugh in the mic.
Hopefully.
Laughing is always allowed. No matter how it sounds.
Giggling, laughing.
If you sound like Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins, any of those different laughs, they're all welcome.
Has anyone ever laughed on your podcast where they've like snorted while laughing? Do you ever make anyone laugh so hard?
I don't know.
Because you're such a funny person, Chels.
I don't think anyone's snorted yet, but it's definitely a goal I can, shoot for.
Before the year's up, work on that.
Yeah. But I did want to talk about some of the fun we've been having. And also, just a little context for everyone. We've known each other for a while. We were just talking about this.
I think you guys are like one of my longest relationships.
Yeah.
Because if spent 23 years in Singapore and then 20 years here, it's almost like half and half.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm pretty sure I was 15 when I met you.
Yeah, I think you were. Because you and I actually just have a 6-year age difference. Because I'm 43. Oh, do you want to share your... Maybe you never
You already have. No, I shared it recently. I think I did.
All right.
Anyway, I'm going to be 37 in October.
Yay.
But you'd never know if you saw this baby face.
In fact, we were checking out photos and you still have collagen going. And your eyebrows are still fly.
Collagen. Eyebrows are on fleek.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And then your hair's still like...
Have you noticed I've thickened them?
How did that happen?
I did it intentionally.
You grew it out?
Yeah.
And yours actually grew?
I have so much eyebrow hair, it's insane.
Chelsea, do any of your other siblings have this hair?
No.
I mean, and
I've got the crazy eyebrows. I've already have Emma promised that when we get in our old age, she has to keep tabs on my eyebrows because they'll get wild. And there's old people out there that they got some wild eyebrows and they don't pay attention.
I see it all the time. I see it in... I don't know. I think maybe I see it more in Singapore. I don't know what it is, but yeah. And I will actually, that would be me too. That's why I go and get my waxing done but I like mine thicker too.
Yeah. I just started noticing like in some pictures or even just when I looked in the mirror, it was like, whoa, it was like for a minute there, they were getting really thin.
Your eyebrows were...
I was like,
Yeah.
I need to be careful. My eyebrows are almost gone.
I know people that it's just gone.
Yeah. So I started thickening them, and then I started really liking just like because they're so dark, and I was like, oh. Yeah, I like this, and they grew back because I got.
And you know
tons
what?
of eyebrow hair.
Those like pencil thin eyebrows used to be the in thing, and then I felt so
That's
ashamed for having like thick eyebrows and stuff, and then now bushier the
Now
better.
thick eyebrows is
the
in.
rage. Yeah.
So it's
evolves.
it's always gonna change.
Yeah,
But
like what they say, one day you are the one day you're the bug on the windshield.
What?
And
and one day you're the windshield.
what I mean by that is like your day will come. Like every dog has its day. So like just like how.
Dang, girl, you're getting dark on us.
Wait, is that a bad? What does every dog has its day mean?
Well, I'm not sure now because I thought we were going with the bug on the windshield, and then you said every dog has its day. So my mind was in death.
So what I mean is like, one day everyone is making, comments and that's another thing in the Indian culture, and they will not hold back. So, there would be comments, and then growing up with majority Chinese, they oh my God, now I'm getting like a little stereotypical, so I'm going to back up. But it's different. We have different hair types, different features, different everything. So, but I was growing up, it's so like it's kind of funny because I grew up in like almost a foreign country.
I mean, foreign to me.
Yeah, being Indian, growing up in Singapore, and then never ever being in India. Like I've never been to India. I never really had a relationship with the side of my family that's in India. So it was kind of like weird. And then, I was just thinking about it. Then now I'm spending another 20 years. It's also just another foreign country. So it's, it's interesting.
It is interesting. I didn't even know where Singapore was until you pointed it out on the map last night and gave us a history lesson, which was honestly really cool to hear about. And then we watched Crazy Rich Asians, and it all just came together.
Yes, we stayed past our bedtime for sure.
Oh my God, we stayed up way too late, but we had a lot of fun. That was a good night.
I love it. After our CSI night.
And after our Asian food dinner, like why not top it off with a Asian film?
Oh, which one was it? The pancakes?
Yes, we had a Korean pancake. Well, Emma and I did.
Oh,
well, you had some of it.
Yeah, and then your dumplings.
Gyoza. Yeah, what actually like... Okay, when I think about dumplings, I think about the round ones.
Yeah.
And like kind of like the dim sum type where you would get.
Yeah.
But then I hear like the gyoza called dumplings sometimes. So like what is the difference? Like what actually distinguishes them?
I may be so totally wrong on this, but I'm going to take a stab at this. I think gyoza, or however you say it, is the Japanese or Korean name for dumplings. Then dumplings is dumplings. And then in the Chinese version where it's dim sum and there's baos and shumai and oh my God, see, it's all like...
Okay.
Has to
that
come
makes
back
a lot
to
more
me.
sense.
Yeah, so I think that's it, but we can always do a
Google search.
Google.
Yeah, but I really like that explanation of it.
All right, so we'll stick to that.
I just want to stick to like the concept that doesn't have to be called one thing.
Oh, totally. Like just like if you take a look at Jamaican meat patties.
Jamaican meat patties?
Isn't it like empanadas or samosas or
I've never heard of a Jamaican meat patty, but I've heard of the other things.
Yeah, and then I think a lot of cultures have ginger tea where they use ginger in their chai, which is tea. That's another thing. A lot of people say chai tea.
It's the same. It's
chai
like,
is tea.
Yeah, what's it? It's redundant. How redundant?
Redundancy. Yeah, don't ever. Yeah, use that word in all of your like strategy. In the HR world, like, yeah, this is a redundant, and you know they'll actually listen.
Dude,
I love that word.
So funny. Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
good word.
I like the scene in Little Rascals when Alfalfa's like, I think her name's Darla, right?
I have not watched
Alfalfa.
it. I've seen like
wait.
bits of it, but I've never watched the whole thing.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe I'm even questioning this.
I know,
now.
and I also haven't watched The Goonies. And I haven't watched.
It is Darla. Okay. So Alfalfa says to Darla, or Alfalfa says to this other kid who's like a hot shot. He says, Darla and I will be singing a duet together. And then the hot shot kid goes, how redundant.
That's quite funny.
Yeah, it is pretty funny.
Wow.
Yeah, what kind of movies do you watch? Because I've mentioned a few that are like,
I love rom-coms.
Oh, they're the best.
Like The Holiday is one of my favorites.
Oh, that's a great movie.
I love Anyone But You.
Oh, that one was all right.
Yeah, that's actually.
I wasn't as psyched about that one as everyone else, but it was decent.
I love Love Actually.
Have you seen Your Place or Mine?
Oh, is that with Ashton? And
yes,
I actually liked that one too.
That's the best rom-com I've seen in like a few years.
Wow.
And I was like, this is, and then we watched it again recently because I was talking about how much I liked it. And Emma was like, well, why don't we watch it again? And I was like, yeah, why not?
Wow.
It's a great movie.
No one has rules that you can only watch it once.
No, but we like to, there's so many movies we want to see. So sometimes it's like,
I watched The Hangover like 5 to 6 times.
That's a great movie.
And if you say, let's watch The Hangover, I'll probably say, let's do it.
Would you say that's your favorite movie?
Yeah, it's
or one of them.
I mean, I think I fell off the couch.
Laughing?
Mm-hmm. The only other movie where I fell off the couch laughing was Hitched, when
that's a good movie
when Will Smith got slapped across the face.
Yeah.
Now, as we talk about rom-coms, I do want to definitely bring up the one with what's it? The one where everyone fell in love with Ryan Gosling and Emma.
Oh, I know exactly. It's one of my all-time favorites.
What is it
Crazy
called?
Stupid Love.
Yeah, that's a top one in my
such
books.
a good movie.
Yeah. What else? Let's keep going here. Oh,
that's also one that I've watched multiple times.
It's so good. Yeah. And then I also like what do you think about J-Lo's like rom-coms? She's been in a few. What do you think? Oh wait, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
That's a great movie.
Oh, I bet everyone's eardrums just burst with me yelling that.
Nah, they'll be fine. That's a great movie. No, seriously, rom-com is probably it's definitely my favorite genre.
Okay.
And then comedy is like next.
And let's not forget about, I really think that sometimes we, especially, I don't know, like the generation of today, if they're ever going to watch The Last of the Mohicans with Daniel Day-Lewis. That's such a good movie.
I haven't seen that.
Legends of the Fall with Brad Pitt, Tristan.
No. I've heard of these movies, but I haven't watched them.
Are they more like
action, though? Or are they more like...
They're more... I mean, The Last of the Mohicans is with the natives and fighting and...
Yeah, see, I'm not super
Legends
into
of the Fall is... Oh, but I think you... And then also the one with Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise. You Can't Handle the Truth. Which one is that? A Few Good Men with Demi Moore?
Yeah, I've not watched it.
How about Ghost?
I've seen that a long time ago.
How about
But
Patrick
see, now
Swayze?
you're getting into like drama less than action.
I like all of them.
Dirty Dancing. Talk about Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, I liked Dirty Dancing too.
I want to watch that soon.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not that picky with my movies. Even growing up in Singapore, I would go watch like Cantonese movies and I watch Hindi movies, which is Bollywood movies.
Oh. So what are the...
we need to watch a Bollywood movie, by the way, while I'm living here.
Okay, what's that experience gonna be like for me?
You know, I think your experience is going to be whatever it is because some people fall in love with it.
But what's, can you just give me like a rundown of like what Bollywood movies are like?
So Bollywood movies are very dramatic.
Okay. Like family drama, like friendship drama, like that kind of thing, or what?
Family drama, you know, marrying someone that is beneath your caste. What else comes up?
It's like being
being like accused of murder or revenging your brother that they killed, or maybe it's like a gang thing. So we need to watch it. And you know, in Bollywood movies, I can always guarantee that the female lead is going to be gorgeous. And she's going to have dance moves.
Ooh, okay.
And she's going to have backup dancers miraculously appear in a scene.
So it's like instead of a musical, it's like a dance movie.
Oh, and you know, the outfits are beautiful. And I don't know, I think they kiss now, but back then it was just like running behind a tree and peeking out at one another.
Oh, the tension.
And suddenly, like, they are in the rolling hills with greenery all around them. And then the next thing you know, they are actually skiing down the slopes of Switzerland. So it's like the scenes don't make sense. So we need to watch this.
Sounds like I might laugh at it.
Yeah, it would be actually.
Even though it's not a comedy.
You know what? I think we need to make this happen. And then you should do a follow-up and share with everyone what your thoughts are on Bollywood.
Okay. We have a short list going of things we need to do before you leave us.
Yeah.
I'm confident we'll get to it all. I just don't want to forget it. I really don't.
Is it going on the whiteboard?
It has been. Well, discussions have been going on the whiteboard. You know what, though? I grabbed my notebook and my pen.
Oh, you're so prepared.
Let me write this down. We need to watch a Bollywood.
Yeah, we do need to watch a Bollywood.
How do you spell that? B-A-L-I?
B-O.
Oh.
So it's like Hollywood with an H, but no H. It's a B.
B-O. Oh, just like Hollywood.
Yes.
With a B. Okay.
Yes.
That's definitely not how I would have spelled it. Would have spelled it like Bollywood.
Bollywood, yeah.
Okay. Watch a Bollywood movie.
Yeah.
There was something else.
We even have some like Bollywood actresses that have been like in
American films.
Yeah, like Priyanka Chopra.
Oh, yeah.
She's one. And then Deepika, which is was with Vin Diesel in that. Oh my God, that was a good one.
A Fast and Furious film, or was it
one of those where there's like a.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't really watch those movies. I will watch those movies. Like if someone else is like, I really want to watch this movie, I'll watch it. And usually I'm like, oh, that was good, you know? But it's just not the kind of movie that I'm attracted to.
But so far, I think we have liked every movie we've watched together.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're watching CSI.
Burp. And then we watched Night School.
That was actually really funny. I already recommended it to Devin and Travis. I said, you guys should watch this when you get a second.
Do you think they're going to?
I hope they do, but you know, they're very busy running their lives, running their family, their house. So
2 kids.
Yeah, they definitely have to make time for it. And like, I don't know if they already have stuff on their list. You know? Like, but I just want to put it out there because I don't recommend a lot unless people like ask me. Because I don't know really people's tastes all that much. But that one because I know like Travis really likes Kevin Hart. So does Devin. They probably aren't super familiar with Tiffany Haddish, but I love her.
I love her. I loved her in a Girls Trip. Oh my God.
I didn't watch that. I'm telling you, I first learned about her because she was on a podcast I was listening to. Oh. And I found out she was a comedian. Yeah. And she just sounded really like, just like cool, down to earth on the podcast.
Like I think she was homeless. She lived out of a car.
Yeah.
So it's all legit.
Yeah.
Like, relatable.
Yeah,
Not
so-
that that's happened. But
Yeah.
we
So,
get it. Yeah.
I looked up her special though, and her special's really funny, which I think you should watch it.
Okay.
And then after that, I was just like, I love this person. So
Yeah, we should watch Girls Trip because
Girls
if you want to
Trip.
talk
Writing it
about
down.
wild moments, that is, I mean, it makes you think that, okay, what we do on our girls trip is not so bad after all. But it was based in New Orleans, so I was actually watching it when we went off like plane ride there.
yeah,
Getting
nice.
ready.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And Jada Pinkett is in there and Queen.
Oh, okay.
Latifah and you'll know the gals in there, yeah.
Okay, cool. I wrote it down.
Okay.
And then what else were we gonna do before you moved out? We were going to. You're gonna cook for us, period. But
yes.
your mac and cheese, because Emma's a mac and cheese gal, so she needs to experience that.
Yes.
And was there something else?
I think we talked about Mediterranean.
Yes, thank you.
And how we could, like,
have a Mediterranean night.
falafels and chicken. What is it? Shawarma. And did I say hummus?
Yeah, we're gonna
And
have to
pita
figure out how
bread.
to make turkey shawarma. I can take care of the
But
meat
how about
part.
lamb? Do you eat lamb?
Oh yeah,
Because that's big in that cuisine. I think so.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
what are those things called?
What? Like the gyros?
Yeah, gyro.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Gyro. It's called a
Euro. Is it Euro?
Yeah.
See, I'm
It's okay.
sure I'm not the only one that struggles with that. I'm sure.
I can't even say English isn't your first language.
I mean, it's like, in Singapore, it's called Singlish. Singapore English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And you know what? Euro isn't even English, so
It's Greek.
yeah.
Which,
But I do love Euros. I love Mediterranean. I love food. Period.
They say the Mediterranean diet is
Pretty
like one
healthy.
of the highly because of what is it? The freshness, the lemon juice that they use, chickpeas, grape leaves, olive oil.
It's very nutrient focused too.
But how could you not? Because that was another thing we were talking about: wet markets and fresh produce and the cost of it and how, like, I don't know. I'm sure I'm visualizing that in Greece they also have
Markets.
yeah.
I watched a
Fishermen,
special. Yeah, I watched a special on Netflix. And there was a lot of. It was fictional, but there was a lot of Italy.
Oh
And
yeah.
they were in Sicily,
Mm.
and they had a market like that, and it wasn't even like here. They're like weekly, like at the farmers market.
Yeah.
This is like
Every
daily.
day.
It's just down there. It's there, and people would walk down and get like their date, like what they were gonna make for dinner or whatever.
I think some of them might not even own a fridge or something. They don't believe in refrigeration, maybe. I could be making this up.
I
but
mean,
it
I
could
wouldn't
be
be
true.
surprised.
And so that brings me to two other movies. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Mamma
Do I
Mia.
need to write them down?
Mamma Mia.
So we watched that
Yeah.
with wait. Oh, hold on.
Yeah. And the Sisterhood of the
we didn't
Traveling
watch it.
Pants.
I love that movie. I read the books.
That too.
I read the
The
books
Notebook.
before I watched those.
And
Mamma
Under the
Mia.
Tuscan Sun.
Mamma Mia. I think we were supposed to watch that with Maggie. Maggie, let me know when you hear this.
Maggie. Holler.
Holler. But I don't think we got to it. But I think that was one we were supposed to watch with her.
I may
But-
be mistaken. I think Maggie's having fun dog sitting. Is she still dog? We'll find out.
She is until today.
Hey.
She was dog sitting forever. That's like that's her side hustle.
I mean, Maggie is a reliable, dependable,
Oh yeah.
and so she's the best person to babysit
Oh,
or dog
yeah.
sit.
We could talk about Maggie and her great qualities all day.
Yeah, Maggie, we'll give you a 5-star on like care.com or dogs What is
Dude, your label is like all over you.
You know, I
And
can't
now
sit
it's on the
still. I
ground.
really can't. Okay, I'll clean
It's
it
like,
up.
no, I'll get it, but I've been sitting here like, where did that stuff come from?
No,
It's
I've been
your
shredding it
She's
with my
drinking
nails.
is that a green tea?
Shaken ice green tea with peach.
Yeah. This is gonna be too late for y'all, but Saturdays. Well, I guess not totally too late, but Saturdays in September, Starbucks is doing 2 drinks for 10, 2 drinks for or 4 drinks for 20. So we had our first PCCBs today of the season.
The pumpkin's out.
Pumpkin cream cold brew, and it was good. The last 2 years,
Yeah.
no joke, it hasn't been the same.
What do you mean?
Emma and I are serious coffee drinkers,
Yes.
and we started this tradition over 2 years ago where we were walking to Starbucks because our house in South Phoenix was like a 5-minute walk, maybe like 7 to Starbucks, and we would get the pumpkin cream cold brew because it was so good, right? This was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And then the next year we were like, it's a little off, but it wasn't like totally off. And then last year it was like really off. Like it just kind of tasted like kind of burnt.
Ooh.
And it wasn't like, it just wasn't as like creamy and smooth. And we tried like a couple different Starbucks, you know, because we were
all the
thinking
same?
maybe, yeah. And so then this year we were really hesitant. We were like, but I'm like, we got to try it. And then we were like, oh, that's pretty good. Oh, yeah, really. Just bump into the mic.
Everyone heard that, I'm sure. You know, do you think it was like right after COVID when there were like supply chain issues and maybe something happened with their...
That could have been.
Yeah.
That could have been. Yeah.
Because we were even talking, well, but this is not really about COVID. I know this is such a hard pivot going from Starbucks now to
Let's hear it.
Sriracha.
Pivot.
And how Sriracha is now also
Oh,
different. Yeah.
That was a very fascinating story that you told.
Yeah, I think it was
Well, I guess it wasn't a story. Those were facts.
You know, when you're like, I subscribe to the New York Times.
You're very cultured.
Really? That's such a compliment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, you are though, and you're very in tune with like what's going on in the world.
Pop culture
Yes, pop culture.
or a global citizen.
Yeah. Both.
Maybe, kind of. Okay, I like that.
I think because you're from another country, and a lot of other countries, there's just more emphasis on like education and world knowledge
Yeah.
that our country doesn't have. And so I feel like anytime I meet someone that's from another country, you can feel that. You can like sense that.
I will agree with you. Although I will say that at least the Americans that I've met are very curious and they
good.
are very open, and you know, like I would like even like Thai food, like that's a huge following, like pho, like so what I'm trying to say here is that I have been fortunate to meet the ones that are very curious. They are very intrigued, and they're just fascinated in a good way, and you know, they like really, really enjoy it.
I just realized something that should be on the list above
What?
anything else, above any of the food items, is you should make us something from Singapore or something like that you grew up eating and enjoying.
Yeah.
As long as we can make it work here, because it might be hard to like find, you know, some ingredients or whatever. But
I think that's doable because there's the Mekong Plaza, and then there's also another, you know, I think someone told me about this huge Asian place. And then there's even the Indian grocery stores.
okay.
And back then my sister used to actually ship me stuff like from Singapore. Then I realized a lot of them, they're actually right here.
Okay.
So we
we'll
have
probably,
access.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That needs to be like the first food item, I think, though.
Yeah, a rice cooker is definitely essential.
We really need to get we have a rice cooker.
cookers.
We really need to take advantage of you being here. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay. Yes,
I don't know if I'm going to have another chance to have like authentic cooking from someone from Singapore. Do you call yourself Singaporean?
Yes, we're
Okay.
Singaporeans.
Okay. Cool. I have some questions I want to ask you.
Yay.
We've like almost been recording an hour.
How much? I mean, do you have a cutoff? Like, do you have a no? Your
When
podcast
you own the
is
thing, there's no.
hey, you make the rules.
Yeah, I make the rules. I
Yeah.
shoot for like an hour just for like, for the listeners, because it can get kind of long after that. And I am a frequent podcast listener. So just kind of from experience, but I also have different things I like. Like I like to listen to podcasts in certain times of the day, and so a longer episode might be good, but also a shorter, So I'm just trying to kind of find a good middle ground.
What kind of podcasts do you listen to?
My main ones right now are Something Was Wrong.
Oh, okay.
Which, have I told you about that?
No.
Okay, it's been super informative because it's really just brought to light issues in the world that I did not know existed.
Wow.
And I don't know if that's just, I'm sure it's part of like my privilege that I grew up with, but also the relationships I've had around me. So it's just been really eye-opening, and I just like being educated in that matter. Like I like knowing what's going on,
That is so important.
Yeah. So it says that it's a docuseries about survivors' discovery, trauma, and recovery from crime and abuse.
Wow.
So there's been some hard things, but yeah, like I said, it's just opened my eyes to what could be out there and possibilities, and it's helped me be just like more empathetic because I don't know people's history. I don't know what they've gone through. Yeah.
I think that's great that you're doing that because, as we think about like just this past week that you hear about the Kenyan Olympic women runner that got burned in Kenya.
Yeah.
And she's like the third female in 3 years. So I think 22, 23, 24, like, so each year it seems like someone.
From Kenya?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And then this is, I need to maybe read up on this, but I just saw the headlines about the French guy that drugged his wife and like recorded her being sexually abused. And I think it was like 72 times.
What?
So
That's graphic.
The crazy shit.
I'm going to have to put a content warning on this episode now.
Oh yeah, not for the kids. Not while you're doing drop-offs.
No, but
please.
also that's
twisted.
Yeah. But also it could be, to someone listening, it could be triggering, That's what I want to be like sensitive to.
Yeah, because it's just unfathomable, if that's the word.
Yes, it is. It is the word. Okay. Let's get to these questions.
Okay.
All right. What is your best self-care tip? Why are you giggling?
Because my definition of self-care now is so different of what I thought self-care
That's okay.
was.
It's yours.
Yeah, like so I think the self-care that I still think like applies no matter like as for me as I've gotten older and stuff like that is definitely taking time to slow down and do things that you enjoy, whether it is like a iced matcha from Starbucks or like a longer shower or like deep washing your hair, which I did this morning.
Really scrub it, really scratch
or
it.
exfoliating your body. Or, some people, they have their glass of wine or kombucha even. I've seen that. And then reading is also a self-care.
Okay.
But, I think back then I was thinking like, okay, you had to go to an official spa and pay for X amount of money. Or you had to go to get your nails done. And that was like self-care. But now I think self-care is the little things, like even stretching is self-care. What else? I'm trying to think here. Going on walks is self-care. They say if you feel like you're mentally exhausted, it's okay to like rest.
Yeah.
So
I've noticed that in the last 2 weeks that you definitely you're like intentional when you come home for a period of decompressing and just like winding down from the busy day.
Yeah.
Which I struggle doing that.
Yeah, and then some people, I mean, I don't know, they think about like starting your day by drinking water with salt or electrolytes or apple cider vinegar or oil pulling or like those are all like care for yourself. Going to bed at X hours.
Yes.
Saying no. So
oh man, there's so much.
Yeah.
But what's your best self-care tip in this question? Like, what do you think gives you the best?
I think the best for me is always I like water, and I really think that being around the smell of like water and sea and salt and the sound of water is like the best thing for me in terms of like myself, like my nervous system, my ability to slow down, disconnect. So it's kind of sad because that's another thing I really struggle with Arizona sometimes is that there's no water.
Nothing natural.
Yeah, and I grew up on an island, like, so that to me is, and today that's like one of my top things. But if I don't have access to that, then I would say that it is definitely showering and taking like a long, good shower.
Yeah. I heard someone once say that they called it free meditation.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me ever since. And I'm like, it's so true. And I used to not be super into showers.
Yeah.
And it was just like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe more like 2 years ago, I started to get more into it. And I think that was part of it because that guy was like, oh, it's free meditation. And I was like, okay, yeah. Cause you're
not supposed to think of anything while you're in there really, but it's so hard.
I have shower thoughts all the time.
They say you do your best thinking in the shower, but I read somewhere
you have like the space to do it because it's not you're not around anyone else usually. Maybe you are, but
and there's some people even have like eucalyptus leaves in there, so it can even be what is it? It's not a sensory experience. I guess it could be
therapeutic.
Yeah,
like
it's olfactory, your senses are activated.
Nice.
Okay, yeah,
love it.
So that would be me, and you can see it's all like around water and stuff. I'm a water sign.
Have you been to the river, the Salt River?
That's a story.
Oh, it is?
For another day.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean Devin knows the story,
we'll tell it offline.
Oh boy, yes.
Okay. Next question.
Yes.
What lights you up?
Okay, so that's also has evolved. What used to light me up was like having winery trips with like girlfriends or having pool days, or in Jacksonville we would go to the beach or what else? When I do my like my Facebook calls with my nieces, they light me up. When I am around them, most definitely. They're so funny. It's so different from, how we grew up probably. So that lights me up.
Nice.
I think that when I do like an act of kindness internally, it lights me up. If it means that like around the Christmas season or the holiday season, tipping your server more. Or the other day, and I don't want to say like I'm like boasting about myself, but this is what makes me happy is the other day I was at Trader Joe's and there was this poor lady and she had like something on her leg, like not ankle, but on her knee, like, you know, when someone is injured and so she's pushing a cart and she's already struggling
like a
walking.
knee brace or something.
Yeah. And so as I was getting in the car right next to her, and I could see that she was now having to turn around and go back and return her cart, I said, I'll take your cart for you.
Nice.
Yeah. So that kind of...
Did she appreciate that?
Oh, she was very appreciative.
Nice.
So that was a light me up moment.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I get someone a present or a gift and they really, really like it.
Yeah.
That's always
nice.
very touching.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's like maybe acts of service or acts of kindness or like good, fun experiences.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Most
With
definitely.
your people.
Yeah. Definitely.
Awesome. This is the question I missed on the last episode. What is a great source of joy for you that you have not put much focus into lately?
That would be yoga.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm not very flexible, and I thought yoga, you know, this is all about, once again, back then and now. Back then I was really conscious. I couldn't touch my toes. I thought everyone was looking at me.
Yeah.
But recently when I started going, it was actually a very supportive environment. It was my first time being familiar with affirmations, because a lot of times the yoga studio that I go to, it's setting your intention for the day. And when I first started, and I would always, you know, sometimes it's so easy to down talk yourself. And, you know, I was talking to the yoga instructor, I was just telling her, oh my God, I'm not quite there yet. And she said, yoga meets everyone where they are.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very good.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we just got to get you back on the mat.
Definitely. I feel like sometimes it's when I start going and then I get in a groove, it's good. But once it's like something happens and I kind of drop off, then I start thinking about, okay, now I'm not going to be able to do that move to the level that and I was even getting like compliments on, oh, you're getting stronger and stuff, and you feel it. So, but you know, I think out of all of this, what I do know is that you just have to start.
Yep.
And as you do it more, you're going to be, it's easier.
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, once you start, try not to fall off the wagon.
Yeah.
So it's discipline, which is so hard. Well, I'm sure. That's a...
I have two things. One, on what you were just saying, is the cool thing about it is the longer that you are consistent, then when you fall off, the easier it is to get back on. And over time, those periods of falling off get smaller because you've spent time in this like consistent like routine or habit. Yeah.
I think with almost everyone, I think that's like famous, like Mel Robbins or Brene Brown, or they say it's all the little things that you do every single day that builds up.
Yeah. The other thing I want to say about yoga is, well, I guess I don't know if it's traditionally like where yoga comes from, but I know traditionally in our country, or our culture here is it's supposed to be very non-judgmental. So, like I like what that instructor said, like yoga meets you where you're at, but also the energy and the vibe in the room is no one's going to look, every single person's going to look different. Their journey's going to look different, but then also not being judgmental on yourself. That was my biggest takeaway from that, doing yoga, because it's like, don't come to the mat being like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to do this move. Like that's judging yourself. No, come to the mat and just see what happens. See how your body feels and just be there, be present, and let it flow.
And take breaks if you need to.
Yeah. And don't judge yourself for taking that break.
it's your practice, and use your props. Like I love my blocks. I could not live without them. Like
Emma was using your blocks the other day or yesterday. We did yoga.
Yes, use the blocks. Use the straps. What else? Of course, I'm good mat. I started out using the really cheap ones, and then my sister got me a Lululemon, and it doesn't need to be a Lululemon, like whatever,
Just
as long
good
as
quality.
it's a good non-stick. Because I was like slipping and sliding. I think it's good because yoga makes you stretch, hold your stretches, take your breathing. It's all about
Breathing.
That's what we were doing a lot of before the podcast even. We were just breathing.
We did.
And what else? I'm trying to think. And it's also like, I guess if you're a level where you can do, what is it, aversions? Is that what it is when you...
Yeah, inversions.
Inversions.
I can't do that.
It's supposed to bring the blood gushing.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess it's like really, I think it's like a high experience, like just like how you got high after the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like, ooh.
But also it's like the hardest pose I ever got into, which isn't even that hard, but I mean, isn't that the difficulty level isn't that high, I should say. But it was crow. You know that one?
Oh, that one's, that's quite, you have to. Oh,
you're like, your arms, for people that don't know, your arms are bent at like 90 degrees and your knees are on the back of your arms, like where your triceps are.
Yeah.
And you're chilling there on your hands. And it takes a lot of stability. It takes a lot of
your breathing,
your foot, like you have to be calm and stable. And I remember I tried it like few weeks in a row. And this is when I was doing yoga like at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. And I remember I was just like, I can't do this. Like, And so they'd get into crow and I would just like go into child's pose because I'm like, I can't do this.
Yep.
And then there was, so I'd been going, I don't know how long, but I'd been going pretty regularly and consistently at this point. And I remember they were like, the instructor was guiding us into crow. And I like sat there for a second, like trying to determine if I was going to do it. And I was like, nah. And she looked right at me. And in the class, she goes, "You're not going to try it?" And I was like,
a little
nah.
push.
I was like, nah, and she's like, just try it.
Yeah.
Like basically like, what could go wrong? And I was like, yeah, I'll just try it. And then I got into it. I got into crow. And internally, I was like, holy shit.
How did it feel?
Like, I'm doing it. I was pumped.
And was she looking at you or was she like, were they motivating you?
Oh yeah. She saw me do it. And then when I got out of it, she was just like smiling at me like, good job,
I love that.
And then I was pumped. And I came home and I told Emma, I was like, dude, I got into this pose, like blah, blah, blah. And it just, so in terms of like you like being on a high because your blood's rushing to your head, but also as you grow in your practice, you're like, holy crap, I wasn't even able to do that. Like I would have fallen on my face before.
It was so painful or it just felt like unnatural.
You're just not strong enough yet.
Yeah.
But then you get stronger in these poses and then you're like, you notice your breathing isn't as heavy or, it's more regulated and you can stay even warrior. Like you can stay in warrior a little bit longer than before. Like you just start to notice.
Or you can get a little lower.
Yeah.
Or you can, so what's your favorite move, if you don't mind me asking?
My favorite move?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, just yesterday, I said this out loud that I really like triangle pose.
Oh, that's actually, but that's what they call a, this pose, like a heated pose, like it will cause, like it's an activated pose.
Yeah, it's very activated.
Yes, activated
and
pose.
It's stretchy. You are like stretching a bunch of your body.
I have to use my blocks and like bend.
Yeah. But I just really like it because it's like you're working your muscles, but you're also stretching them. That's the one that comes to mind. I like a lot of them. I also hate a lot of them. Like there are some the ones that are just difficult where I'm just like,
so name one that you hate. So we have a
chair pose.
Which one?
Chair pose.
Oh,
Every time they're like chair pose, I'm like,
You don't like it?
No, it's hard.
It's like your legs burn.
Yeah, it's hard.
And some people tiptoe and then they get really, really down.
That is hard.
Yeah. And come back up, I think.
So I was at that level before when I was doing yoga more often, and I'd like to get back to it.
Yeah.
You know what I really miss, though? We were talking about this the other night, is core power yoga. Their classes that had not just heat, but they also added humidity to some of their classes.
I like hot.
And it just felt so like cleansing, and not just because of yoga, but like because you're breathing in the steam and stuff, you know?
Yeah. And then your toxins are just like oozing out. And, you know, if you start your day with it, it's really, really like one of the best ways, at least for me, when I used to start my day with yoga. It was almost like you were ready to go and stuff.
Yeah. I have some days where I do just like a 10-minute yoga for my back if it's bothering me. Yeah.
Do you remember that we went to a yoga class together?
Yeah. That's why I asked you if you still went there.
Do you like that studio?
It was okay.
Yeah.
It was a little like fancy for me, but you know, you're bougie.
Back then I was. I also have been to Radiate. So it's...
I've never heard of that one.
Radiate is... it's like radiating heat. It's heated to a crazy level.
Okay.
People are dripping. Really hot. You know, they are handing out cold towels and like...
Oh, yeah.
Like someone threw a cold towel at me because I was like just like, laid out there. Red as a... Yeah, maybe one day we should try Radiate.
Okay. Depends on the cost. That's the reason
I think the first time it's not that bad.
Okay.
And then there is... there's this place in Gilbert that's actually the yoga spot.
Oh, okay.
So I did a few classes there.
Nice.
That is actually very, very serious yogis.
Oh, okay.
They are all very serious about their shit.
Okay.
Oops. Yep.
Now I'm the host hitting
advisory.
the mic.
Yeah. All right. What is your next question? If you have any more questions.
Do. If you had 1 minute to tell the world something, what would you say?
Just 1 minute. Are you gonna time me now?
Can you talk into the mic?
Oh, sorry. I wonder if everyone heard that. Okay.
They heard it. Did you hear it in your headphones?
I did. It was like a very far away.
That's exactly how they're gonna hear it.
Sorry. Okay, so if I have 1 minute to tell someone...
No, the world.
The world something.
Yeah, the world is listening, and you have a very important message to convey in 1 minute.
I would say that we are more like similar and identical than we are different.
Yes, I love that. As soon as you said we are, I was like, is she going there with us?
Yes, you read my mind. And I also do agree with the fact, I mean, a lot of people say this, but they always say everything is always better the next morning. You know, sleep on things.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that it all shall pass. So those would be like my 1 minute thing.
Okay. I love it. Great advice. Great message.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So we heard what you were watching. A lot of what you were watching. You did say that reading is self-care for you. So what are you reading right now?
Okay. So, you know, this is one area that I feel like I'm struggling with. Also kind of getting back to the groove of reading.
Okay.
Because growing up in Singapore, I loved English and I loved reading. And I would just be in bed all day from morning to night.
Reading.
Under like a blanket reading.
Love it.
And I was not leaving till the book was done.
Yeah.
So whether it was Nancy Drew.
Nancy Drew.
Or it was Mills and Boone romance novels. Or it was, I don't know, they have Archie books, like the They did, I think. Oh, Harry Potter, like,
Oh yeah, baby.
you know, we couldn't afford like my neighbors and I were into Harry Potter. So every time a book would come out, they would buy one. And then the next one that would come out, we would buy it.
Oh, that's nice.
But we would all take turns reading it. So it was serious that you had to read it within like the weekend, the Harry Potter
And pass it along.
Everyone was waiting. What else did I enjoy reading? I like the Colleen Hoover books these days.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've heard about her. I haven't read a book yet, but I know she's been a popular artist, author.
Mm-hmm.
But are you reading something right now that's noteworthy, or are you not really?
Yeah, I'm trying to finish this book that I got in the airport when we went to New Orleans, Devin and I. And it is How to End a Love Story. It was like Asian Pacific, what is it called? AP Islander month. So they were highlighting all of the like Asian authors. And
Nice.
so I have that book. I'm in the middle of that. And then some books that I've had and I bought. And it's just like, unfortunately, collecting dust. It's like The Alchemist.
Oh, you have that book?
I have that book.
That's been on my book
Maybe you
list
should
for
read it.
like years.
Yeah.
I'm also not winning in the reading department. I'm a part of a book group right now, which has helped me read a book that has been on my list
I
for
would
years.
like to maybe join a group, a book club.
We should do one for The Alchemist.
I have it. It's either here or it's in the storage unit, but I definitely bought it.
Okay.
Because it's a highly I mean, apparently it's going to change your world or your life or your...
Brene Brown said that was one of her books that she recommends, and I was like, well, then I have to read it.
I also have The Power of Habit.
I've heard of it. I haven't read it.
I have it. And then I have the Subtle Act of Not Giving a...
F?
Yeah.
But you're also studying right now. So
there's a lot of reading there.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, for me anyway, when I was in school, that takes away from wanting to read for pleasure.
And then I tried to get into like audiobooks. So I have Viola Davis, her book on audio. And then I have Michelle Obama. Do you read Michelle Obama's book?
I loved her book.
Everyone loves it.
I have Obama's on my bookshelf.
You know, those were the days. And what else? I think one of my friends sent me a book for my birthday. I'll have to bring it out. I can't remember the title, but it's also one of the top books. So there are a lot of good resources out there. I don't think anyone in life ever has anything figured out. I mean, let's be honest. It's I think it just goes back to the lifelong learning, and I feel guilty because it was through me reading was when I found out so much about like what we talk about, and we start talking about different things with different cultures and also what else? I think reading is also what kind of like motivated me to come to the United States. Yeah, so
it's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, The Diary of Anne Frank. How to Kill a Mockingbird.
I still haven't read that book.
Harper, that's a great book.
We watched the movie.
Oh, and then even Memoirs of a Geisha. That's a good one.
Never read it.
So yes,
I know all these top titles. I just never read them. I need to get on it. Is someone here?
No, I'm just like looking out your neighbors. I like to know what's going on in the hood.
Oh yeah, I thought I heard like a car door and the like reflections.
No, he's driving like this old car that has a sheriff. Like, you know, it's the old sheriff car.
Oh yeah, I think it's his son or something.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I got distracted.
It's okay. I need to have my neighbors on the podcast. That'd be awesome. Okay, so last question.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've said this specifically, explicitly on the podcast, but my cousin Cynthia submitted this question, and I've used it a few times.
Oh, okay.
And you know who Cynthia is.
I definitely do.
So I think you should answer her question, which is,
yes,
If you had a last meal, what would it look like? And it can be like 4-course, 5-course, whatever. Like you could have a drink, you could have an appetizer, you know, a side, an entree, a dessert, but it's your last meal.
Okay. Wow. All right. So surprisingly, this is actually like I am very simple because my last meal would have to be like my mom's samosas.
Oh,
to die
sounds
for.
Amazing.
Yeah, I
Can
mean,
she ship us some?
I mean, it's frozen. Like we can freeze it, but I don't think they're gonna let me bring it, like agriculture or like.
They might.
I don't know. I have to ask. I have to find this out. But it's delicious.
I don't know about international customs,
and
but
I think I have to have this talk with my sister. And this is like morbid, but I know you guys have like your recipe cards where you write down this kind of things. But
we try.
She just so at least it stays in the family.
Oh, yeah.
And I have never, ever, ever seen how she makes it.
Yeah. You're talking about your mom's?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to get that shit written
She has
down.
it ready in the freezer and ready to deep fry. It's deep fried too.
You have to though.
It's
get
not
some documentation.
So I'm
or
gonna
learn it yourself.
Yeah, January. That's probably happening. So we need to make sure it stays. And you know, I think growing up, my mom. Oh, so anyway, I'm like sidetracking. So that would be the meal.
We're just gonna have to have you on for another episode.
Yeah, and then I would love to have a like some prosecco.
Okay.
And then I would love a like a dirty soda, like, you know, the ones that I drink. Can I have 2 drinks or?
You know, sure. It's your last meal. Why not?
And then let's see what else. Oh, and then for my dessert, it would be ras malai.
What's that?
It's an Indian dessert. And it is, I think it's cheese that's in condensed milk. So it becomes sweet. My God.
Sweet and cheesy.
So yeah, yes, you can see at the end of the day, like through all of this, I go back to my roots. Except, isn't that funny?
I love it.
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to say like lobster and filet mignon and...
You do get down though with some American food.
Oh, I love food in general.
In general.
Yeah.
I think that's one reason we get along, because we're like,
foodies.
what are we eating? Where'd we get it from?
When are we eating?
Yeah. What's for dinner on Thursday?
Yeah, we do like to gather around the kitchen.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great area to congregate. I think it happens in a lot of households. I feel like it does anyway.
Yes, because it's like, you know, and that's another thing that goes back to how we are more similar than we are different. It's breaking bread.
Yeah.
You know, even in the Muslim culture, they fast, and then it's all about eating together and breaking your fast. And in Thanksgiving is also having a meal. And then in Indian cultures, Festival of Light which is Deepawali or Diwali, is also having like sweets and food, and
it's a very ceremonial practice to share meals together.
Italians, they mangia.
Yeah. And we just don't, in our country, we just don't call it that, but it's pretty similar. I mean, at least in our family, we're getting together around holidays and we're planning the meal out, you know, the menu, I mean.
Yeah.
And it's, I feel like it is very ceremonial and it brings people together.
Oh, in the Hispanic culture, they're all about family. And so,
Sundays, man.
Yeah. So yeah, it's intriguing.
Cool. Okay. Well, that's actually a wrap. And we've gone pretty far. It's almost been an hour and a half.
Shoot. Is this your longest podcast?
It's pretty close. My episode with Farah, I believe, was either like right around this mark. It was right around this mark. I don't know exactly.
Kids.
Yeah. You loved that.
I do like that.
But yeah, so that's a wrap.
Okay.
So thank you so much for being
Yeah.
here.
I didn't really know if I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
I'll be
but
honest with you. Yeah.
That's exactly why, I'll be honest with you, that I said that was a contingency for moving in, was you had to be on my podcast.
Yeah, and I just giggled and hoped that you would forget about it, but I guess you don't.
An
and
elephant
didn't.
never forgets.
And it's about going outside your comfort zone, and I hate public speaking.
We're not in public.
Yeah, well, but it's going out to, I don't
Your
know how
voice
many.
will be in public.
Yeah, okay.
But-
So, yeah.
But this is just chatting with me.
And it's good to listen to how you, like, you know, like even when we do presentations at work and stuff,
Yeah.
it's so hard at first. But if you don't listen to how you sound, then you will never know if you're using too much of the space fillers, or
Yep.
if it's too wordy or whatever. But this is more on a casual setting.
Yeah.
So however it went. We will wait for feedback.
Yeah. I'm excited. I think it's good though. All right. So anyway, I would like to thank my lifetime sponsor, my mother, or as Sudha calls her, Janae.
Janae.
Which when you moved in, you started calling her that. I remembered that's what you call her, and I was just like, I love it.
And she actually responds, and she hasn't told me to not call her Janae.
She has many nicknames. So.
It does. We all do.
Yeah. If you want more from me, please check out my website at chelseabcoaching.com. And also, I realize I've never said this, but you can sign up for my newsletter, which has been pretty light, I will be honest. But it's a goal of mine to start putting more content out there. So sign up for a newsletter. Get my blog posts. Check me out on socials. Although I have also mentioned is a little light in action. But Chelsea B Coaching on Instagram and Prioritize You on Facebook.
Yeah, I'll have to do all of that.
Yeah.
I have to, I listened to Emma listening to you, like your podcast.
Yeah, I was a podcast listener.
So I do pick up on,
Yeah. I wish I knew exactly what her feedback was, but I feel like since I'm her wife, I'm not going to know 100%. It might be one of those take it to the grave things.
So who do you think has been the most transparent and, you know, giving you like your constructive feedback or whatever it is, like positive?
Maggie's been really good.
Good.
But her and I have always had that kind of relationship. Yeah, where we're just like, we're there for each other, we're supportive. But then we've also, I mean, to be honest, we worked on it in the beginning. We spent time talking about like, hey, let's just like be real with each other. Let's just be open and honest. And so that's what we do. So if I'm like, what'd you think of this episode? She tells me exactly what she thinks. And I don't get mad about it because I'm like, that's what I'm asking for.
I love Maggie.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mags, we'll wait for your thoughts and feedback.
Yeah. So yeah, where was I? Oh yeah. So speaking of feedback, if you have any, please reach out. I love it. And it just, it helps me get better, gives me stuff to think about. And of course I want to give listeners what they want too. So let me have it.
Yeah.
Leave a comment on this episode, rate the podcast, send it to somebody, share the love, spread the love.
Spread the word.
Spread the word, spread the good word. And then lastly, if you want to sponsor an episode, go to buymeacoffee.com/mywifesunavailable.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and you can sponsor there.
Okay.
It is really cool.
Okay, I like that. Buymeacoffee.com.
Yep.
Okay. I learned a lot today about the podcast world.
Dude, and how
Kinda
much
like
more
it.
you're going to learn over the next 2.5 months.
Yeah, like sometimes I feel like I'm a DJ, which...
Like right now with this setup. Yeah, totally.
All right. Well, do you have a sign off?
I sure do. It's the same as my intro.
Okay, let's do this.
All
It's
right.
a wrap.
It's a wrap, everyone.
wrap.
Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.